Am I audible?
Yeah.
Okay, so if the action persists even after being repeatedly told not to do so by the neighbors, I think as a secretary, it is best to provide the neighbor with an official notice that can deter these actions, this desired action.
I think we can also just install dustbins outside his house. I'm not saying that it's probably the best solution, but since it's creating an eyesore and accidents, giving him a source to put his trash, because it seems that he is adamant to not do anything about it. Giving him a source to put his trash out into a bin, which is probably covered, will at least prevent the accidents in the eyesore part of it. Plus, open trash can also just act as breeding grounds for a lot of rodents and mosquitoes. So that will also be a problem that would be solved by just having dustbins with lids over them.
Uh, Also, I think since it's such a serious problem that it's causing accidents, as secretary, a committee could be set up and fines could start being imposed not only to that person to not single him out, but anyone who's doing this sort of a behavior which is causing accidents. I think most people would agree that a fine would be an all right thing to impose for a situation such as this.
We can also encourage waste segregation. So there are a lot of people who actually buy plastic wastes out of households. So maybe if we can encourage that, it would probably act as an incentive for him to be more responsible about his waste management as well.
We can also probably keep reminding the people in the society to make sure that they take care of their waste and don't litter around. And also, there could be signboards installed within the community so that people get a regular reminder that they don't have to litter, and there are dustbins installed around the society for better waste management.
Maybe we could try to reason with his parents as well. I mean, we've only ever spoken to the neighbor, right? But the situation actually worsened since his parents moved in. Maybe if we reason with them, it could create an impact. I mean, he is a grown man, I agree, but parents still sometimes do have an influence on their child.
I think the parents themselves will be able to see the condition that is being created in front of their households. So maybe influencing or talking to the parents will not be the best option. Talking to them as a family together can be a solution, but at the end of the day, if they have been told repeatedly not to litter in front of their houses, yeah, if there were dustbins provided regardless, it's best to provide them with an official notice fines. Yes, waste management could also be promoted with dustbins, but at the end of the day, I think in telling or informing the parents about the situation that is already being created in front of the households is not the best way to go about it.
No, I just meant because it doesn't take a lot more to talk to someone who we've not spoken to before. I didn't mean going about complaining about him to his parents that he's littering, but just communicating with them, maybe with the son with their child as well, about the problems that are being created because of the waste that's being accumulated. As a family, as a whole, they might take responsibility for it. That's what I meant.
With that, I completely agree. Yes, informing the family and encouraging them as a whole will be a better way to go about it. I agree.
But I think that involving the parents in this matter would just introduce more trouble for the family, because I believe that him being a grown up individual, he himself should be able to understand that his uh, his littering is causing hazard to the society, and that he should get a hold of it and stop doing this thing regularly.
I don't think it will create problems in the family per se. We're not targeting anyone here. We're just trying to have a discussion with them because, uh, see, when someone moves in, the amount of trash generated will increase, which is why probably the situation is worsening. And maybe someone has not spoken to the parents before either, which is why they're not able to realize the implications it's having. So I'm just saying, I'm not asking anyone to complain against anyone else and create family drama, but just having a conversation as a whole about it before sending a legal notice or an official notice would probably be a better solution instead of putting them right at the spot.
I'd like to add to this, in a society like that of India, I think parents and families and relatives do play a big influence. They're able to influence their surrounding families more. So I think telling parents and informing them would be a better way to go about it before giving an official notice. But at the same time, I do think that if it has proved ineffective so far, an official notice will be a better way to go about it. But yes, another step can be taken before taking up a stringent measure like that.
So maybe if the neighbor is a part of the society during the society meets, if we have a weekly society meets, by not putting him at the spot, we can actually, because when we do confront him, he does improve for a while, right? So maybe we can actually just keep reminding him about his deeds that need to be improved. Maybe that would be a sort of help.
Yes, Vidhi, do you want to add anything, Vidhi? Would anybody like to summarize the discussion?
Yeah, sure. So to summarize, I think mainly the options explored were that we could send a legal notice, we could probably impose a fine, or I think the most common thing that we discussed was that parents could be involved. However, when it comes to parent, not everybody was on the same page because the parents rationally would probably be aware. They would be able to see the garbage outside their house and everything. So it's not like they would be unaware that the kid is doing all of this. So it might not help that much, but it is definitely worth a shot before having to take any extreme measures.
Anybody else would like to summarize?
I can give it a shot if that's okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So the problem stated was about the trash that the neighbor puts out of his house, which creates an eyesore, accidents, and also it creates accidents. And also there's a problem of rodents that come with it. He, though being a decent man, does not improve on repeatedly telling him as well. And the trash increases when the parents move in. So the possible solutions that we discussed were first to actually send him an official notice, to impose fines, and to send him legal notices. There was also a discussion about how we could actually put up notice boards and sign boards that basically provide reminders to him about how cleanliness is important without actually targeting him. We also discussed about the possibility of just putting dustbins out with lids, which would actually prevent the problem of the eyesore accidents and the rodents. Waste segregation was also considered as an option, and we also thought there was not a clarity on it, but there was also an opinion about talking to the parents before taking any stringent decisions, not solely to the parents, but as a family, with the family as a whole.
Okay, Vidhi, please summarize. Vidhi, please summarize the discussion. Okay, Manya, you summarize. Manya,
Sorry, I was on mute. I started speaking when I was on mute. Okay, so the problem started with the neighbor not segregating his waste, not disposing his waste actually, after being repeatedly told so. This led to a lot of accidents. It also led to it being an ISO. It would also have led to pollution, not to mention. Now, the options that were explored were giving him an official or a legal notice, talking to his parents, talking to the family as a whole to influence the individual was also talked about. There were also talks about fines being imposed that would have been a strict and a stringent measure. But most of all, the discussion consisted of how a parent or families can influence the individual, and there was no clear conclusion that was reached as such. But these were the three main options that were explored as such. As Snigdha said, there can also be signs and signboards that can be put up, and also waste management techniques and practices that can be promoted. But mainly, there were three topics that were talked about, which were legal notices, fines, and how a family can influence the individual to better his ways.
Ayush,
Um, so the problem of our discussion was that a neighbor was responsible for littering, which was causing pest infection and also was causing road accidents. Also, it was causing pollution, not to say, and we discussed about the various possible solutions. We discussed about how we could send a legal notice to the person to uh, make sure that he doesn't repeat his mistake. We also discussed that there could be fines imposed on him. Then we discussed about how we can talk to the family to make sure that he's influenced by the family and doesn't litter his surroundings. Also, we talked about installing signboards or sending regular reminders to the society members so that they are aware and don't litter the surroundings. Apart from that, there were a few people who were against the say that we should talk to the family members because that could disturb their peace and hence we should not talk to the family members. That is pretty much the summary of our discussion right now.
okay, fine. So summary wise, I think all of you did a good job. But the case said that they have a habit of throwing the waste out of the window. Didn't talk about throwing it here and there. So that part was missed out, I think. Is it?
I was taking that into consideration, and hence I was being on the side that he should be sent legal notice and family should not be disturbed. But
Yeah, but
yeah,
when
I
people are talking
actually,
of
I actually misheard the question. I thought he's throwing it in front of the door or something. That's what I thought. That my entire discussion was based off that.
no, even if that is the case, usually this discussion turns out like this only, that people give various options so that the littering is not done. But it was more to do with a habit kind of thing. Maybe they have been living in a different area earlier and they're used to throwing things out of the window. stuff like that, which is not allowed in society. So what we discussed was fine, but I think the main thing that they used to throw this trash outside the window was this stuff. So it's fine, not an issue. Give me 1 minute.